Dr. Lisa Morgan wiped the sweat from her forehead as she studied the strange crystal formations inside the ancient cave. The planet Kepler 442b was hot and humid, but the discovery they had made here was worth every uncomfortable moment. These crystals were older than any known civilization in the galaxy. "The readings are incredible," she said to her team. "These formations contain energy patterns we've never seen before." Commander Vex High, a tall alien with blue skin and large eyes, nodded slowly. His people, the Zephyrians, had been exploring space for thousands of years, but even they had never found anything like this. The Zephyrian Alliance had invited humans to join this expedition as a courtesy, though they still saw Earth's people as newcomers to galactic affairs. "Your species has keen eyes for discovery," Vex High said in his careful English. "Perhaps there is more to humans than we first thought." Lisa smiled at the compliment. For 50 years, humans had been the junior partners in galactic exploration. They were grateful for the chance to prove themselves worthy of respect from older, more advanced species. The research vessel Aurora's Dream orbited peacefully above them. The ship carried a mixed crew of humans and aliens, all dedicated to uncovering the secrets of ancient worlds. It was exactly the kind of peaceful cooperation that both species hoped would continue for generations. That hope died in an instant. The ship's emergency alarm echoed through the cave, its harsh sound bouncing off the crystal walls. Lisa's communicator crackled to life with the panicked voice of Captain Bob Turner, the ship's human commander. "All ground teams return to the ship immediately. We have multiple unknown vessels approaching fast." Lisa looked at Vex High, who was already checking his own device. His blue skin had turned pale. "Devourers," he whispered. It has to be the Devourers. Lisa had heard the name before. The Devourers were a nomadic species that traveled from system to system, destroying entire civilizations and taking everything of value. They had been moving through this part of the galaxy for months, leaving dead worlds behind them. "How many ships?" Lisa asked into her communicator as they ran toward their shuttle. 47 vessels and counting," Captain Turner replied. "They're huge, Lisa, bigger than anything in our files." The shuttle ride back to the Aurora's Dream felt like hours, though it took only minutes. Through the small windows, Lisa could see the massive alien ships surrounding their vessel. They were black and angular, covered in weapons that glowed. With deadly energy. The Aurora's Dream was a research ship, not a warship. It had basic shields and a few defensive weapons, but nothing that could stand against a fleet of Devourer battleships. "They're demanding our surrender," Captain Turner announced over the ship's communication system. "All hands, prepare for boarding. Destroy any sensitive data that might help them." Lisa rushed to the bridge, where she found chaos. The crew was trying to prepare defenses while sending out distress calls to anyone who might help. The ship's weapons fired uselessly at the approaching Devourer vessels, their energy blasts disappearing harmlessly against the enemy's powerful shields. "Any response to our calls for help?" Lisa asked. "The Zephyrian patrol fleet is 3 days away," replied Lieutenant Kevin Ross, the communications officer. "They say they're coming, but they can't get here in time." Lisa watched the main screen as the first Devourer boarding pods attached to their hull. The sound of cutting tools echoed through the ship as the enemy began forcing their way inside. "What about Earth?" she asked. "Have we contacted Earth?" "Too far away," Kevin said. "Even if they sent help now, it would take weeks to get here." Lisa thought about her home planet, so far away and so seemingly helpless. Earth had only a few exploration ships and some defensive platforms. Everyone knew that humans were still learning about space warfare from their alien allies. The ship shuddered as explosions echoed through the corridors. The Devourers were inside, fighting their way toward the bridge. Lisa could hear the sounds of battle getting closer. Send the message to Earth anyway, she ordered. Tell them what happened here. Tell them about the Devourers. Kevin worked frantically at his station, encoding a message with their location and all the data they had collected about the attacking fleet. The ship's power flickered as more systems failed. Commander Vexhai appeared on the bridge, his arm bleeding from a weapon wound. "They're almost here," he said. "I'm sorry, Dr. Morgan. I should have insisted on better protection for this mission." "You couldn't have known," Lisa replied, helping him to a chair. The bridge doors exploded inward. Tall, armored figures poured. Through the opening, their weapons trained on the surviving crew. The Devourers were even more frightening in person than in the intelligence files. They stood over 7 feet tall, with dark gray skin and eyes that glowed red in their helmets. "Surrender," their leader commanded in broken English. "You will be questioned. Your ship will be taken." Lisa raised her hands, but kept talking to Kevin. "Did the message get through?" "Just sent it," Kevin whispered. "Earth will know what happened here." The Devourer leader struck Kevin with his weapon, knocking the young officer unconscious. "No more talking," he growled as the survivors were. Forced to kneel, Lisa looked at Commander Vexhai. The alien's large eyes were filled with regret and something else, respect. "I was wrong about your people," he said quietly. "You faced death with courage. I hope your world remembers that." The Devourer leader raised his weapon, but Lisa spoke again, her voice clear and strong despite her fear. "Earth will remember," she said, "and Earth will answer." The transmission had already traveled into space, carrying its desperate message across the void. Somewhere in the darkness between stars, the signal raced toward a small blue planet that most of the galaxy still considered young and weak. The Devourers had made their greatest mistake. They had attacked humans, and now Earth would know about it. What they didn't know was that the sleeping giant they had awakened was far more dangerous than anyone in the far galaxy suspected. The last thing Lisa saw before the weapon struck was the red light on the communication console, still blinking as it sent humanity's first real call to war. Admiral Jake Patterson stood in the command center, deep beneath the Colorado mountains, staring at the message that had just arrived from the far edge of known space. The words on the screen seemed to burn into his mind. Devourer fleet attacking. 47 ships. Aurora's dream taken. Dr. Morgan and crew captured or killed. Kepler 442b system lost. The room fell silent as the full meaning sank in. For the first time in 50 years, humans had been attacked by a hostile alien force. The age of peaceful exploration was over. How long ago did this happen? Patterson asked. "The message took 18 hours to reach us," replied Colonel Nancy Brooks, his chief intelligence officer. "The attack is already over, sir." Patterson nodded grimly. He had expected this day would come eventually. While the rest of humanity believed their species was still learning about galactic affairs, a small group of military leaders had been preparing for exactly this situation. "Contact General Morrison," he ordered. "Tell her it's time to activate Project Ironwall." 15 minutes later, General Kate Morrison arrived at the command center with a briefcase handcuffed to her wrist. She was a small woman with steel gray hair and eyes that had seen too many classified reports about galactic threats. "The Devourers?" she asked simply. 47 ships, Patterson confirmed. They took the Aurora's dream and everyone on board. Morrison unlocked her briefcase and pulled out a thick folder marked with the highest security classifications. "And it's time our enemies learned what humans are really capable of." For 30 years, Project Ironwall had been Earth's greatest secret. While the public believed their planet's defenses consisted of a few patrol ships and orbital platforms, the truth was far different. Hidden shipyards throughout the solar system had been building a fleet that incorporated the most advanced technology Earth could develop or acquire. "What's our current readiness status?" Patterson asked. 12 capital ships fully operational," Morrison replied, reading from her files. "The Retribution, Vengeance, Fury, Thunder, Lightning, Storm, Avalanche, Earthquake, Tornado, Hurricane, Blizzard, and Tempest. All crews are trained and ready." Patterson pulled up a holographic display showing the locations of their secret fleet. To anyone watching, these ships looked like asteroid mining stations, research facilities, or commercial freight haulers. The disguises had been perfect for decades. "How long to assemble the fleet?" he asked. 6 hours to reach the rendezvous point," Morrison answered. "Another 12 hours to reach the Kepler 442b system." Patterson studied the tactical display. The Devourers had made a mistake by attacking humans, but they had also revealed their location. Intelligence suggested they were using the Kepler system as a staging area for their next wave of attacks. "What about our allies?" he asked. "The Zephyrian Alliance?" Colonel Brooks pulled up another display showing Alliance fleet movements. "They're 3 days away from the attack site. Their patrol fleet is small, only 8 ships. They've already sent a message recommending that Earth focus on defensive preparations instead of attempting a rescue." Patterson's jaw tightened. The Zephyrians meant well, but they didn't understand humans. No human would be left behind if there was any chance of rescue. "Sir," Brooks continued, "we also received a diplomatic message from the Alliance Council. They're expressing their condolences and offering to help evacuate any remaining human colonies in the region." "Evacuate?" Morrison asked. "They want us to run?" "They think we're helpless," Patterson realized. "They still see us as the junior partners in galactic affairs." The truth was that Earth's apparent weakness had been carefully maintained. While human diplomats played the role of eager students learning from their alien mentors, human engineers had been reverse engineering every piece of alien technology they could get their hands on. Human scientists had developed weapons and defenses that no other species had ever seen. "Contact Captain Clark," Patterson ordered. "Tell him to prepare the Vengeance for immediate departure. I want him to scout the target system and report back on enemy positions." Captain Ryan Clark was Earth's best stealth ship commander. His vessel, the Vengeance, was equipped with cloaking technology that made it invisible to most sensors. If anyone could get close to the Devourers without being detected, it was Clark. "What about the other ships?" Morrison asked. "Full fleet deployment," Patterson decided. "We're going to hit them with everything we have." Brooks looked concerned. "Sir, if we reveal our true capabilities, there's no going back. The entire galaxy will know that we've been hiding our strength." Patterson walked to the main display, which showed Earth's position in relation to the known galactic powers. For 50 years, humans had been content to be seen as a minor species, grateful for the protection and guidance of older civilizations. That time was ending. "Maybe it's time they knew," he said quietly. "Maybe it's time we stopped pretending." To be weak, the next few hours passed in a blur of activity. Across the solar system, disguised ships began powering up their true systems. The asteroid mining platform near Jupiter revealed itself to be the battle cruiser Retribution, its massive weapons emerging from hidden compartments. The research station orbiting Saturn transformed into the carrier Hurricane, its fighter bays opening for the first time in years. Dr. Ellen Hayes, a xenobiologist who had worked with Dr. Morgan on previous missions, was called to the command center to help analyze the enemy. She had studied Devourer technology from the few wrecks that had been recovered over the years. "They're not just raiders," she explained to the assembled officers. "They're systematic. They identify valuable targets, overwhelm them with superior numbers, and then strip everything useful from the conquered worlds." "What about prisoners?" Patterson asked. "Do they keep survivors?" "Sometimes," Ellen replied. "Usually for interrogation or slave labor. If Dr. Morgan and her team are alive, they'll be held on one of the larger ships. Patterson nodded. The rescue mission just became more complex, but not impossible. A communication came in from Captain Clark aboard the Vengeance. "Admiral, we're approaching the rendezvous point. The fleet is magnificent, sir. I never imagined we had built something this powerful." Patterson smiled grimly. Few people had been allowed to see the full extent of Earth's hidden military might. The ships gathering in space represented decades of secret development and the combined efforts of humanity's best minds. "How long until we can depart?" he asked. "All ships report, ready for hyperspace jump," Morrison answered. "We're just waiting for your order." Patterson thought about Dr. Morgan and her team, probably imprisoned on enemy ships, wondering if anyone would come for them. He thought about the Zephyrians, racing to help, but expecting to find only wreckage. He thought about the Devourers, confident in their superiority and unaware that they had just made the worst mistake of their existence. "Send a message to the Zephyrian fleet," he ordered. "Tell them we appreciate their concern, but we're handling this situation ourselves." "And if they ask about our capabilities?" Brooks asked. "Tell them they're about to find out what humans do to anyone who threatens our people." The order went out across the fleet. 12 of the most advanced warships ever built prepared to drop out of hyperspace and remind the galaxy that humanity was done being underestimated. The Devourers had sent a message by attacking the Aurora's dream. Now Earth was going to send a message back, written in plasma fire and quantum explosions. The age of human weakness was over. The age of human strength was about to begin. The empty space near the Kepler 442b system looked peaceful and quiet. Stars twinkled in the distance, and cosmic dust drifted slowly through the void. To any observer, there was nothing here but the natural debris of space. Then reality shifted. 12 massive shapes materialized out of nothing, their hulls gleaming with fresh energy as their cloaking systems shut down. The human fleet hung in space like sleeping giants, awakening from a long dream. Each ship was a masterpiece of engineering, combining the best of human innovation with carefully adapted alien technology. Admiral Jake Patterson stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching as his fleet came into view. The flagship was over. 1 kilometer long, its hull bristling with weapons that most species had never seen before. Quantum torpedo launchers, plasma cannons, and kinetic bombardment systems were arrayed along its sides like the teeth of some ancient predator. "Fleet status report," Patterson ordered. "All ships operational and ready for combat," replied Commander Lisa Bell, his tactical officer. "The Vengeance reports successful reconnaissance of the target system. Captain Clark is standing by with his findings." Patterson nodded and opened a communication channel to the stealth ship. "Captain Clark, what did you find?" Ryan Clark's voice came through clearly despite the vast distance. "Admiral, the Devourers have turned the Kepler system into a major staging area. 49 ships total, including 2 massive carrier fortresses. They're mining the asteroid belt and have established holding facilities in orbit around the main planet." "Any sign of our people?" "Confirmed human life signs on 3 ships, including what appears to be the Aurora's dream. The research vessel is being held near the largest Devourer ship, probably for interrogation purposes." Patterson felt a surge of relief. Dr. Morgan and her team were alive, at least for now. But that also meant the rescue mission had become more complicated. "Enemy defensive positions?" he asked. "They're overconfident," Clark replied. "Their ships are spread out across the system with minimal patrol coverage. I don't think they're expecting any serious resistance." Patterson almost smiled. The Devourers. Arrogance would be their downfall. They had conquered so many worlds that they probably couldn't imagine anyone challenging them successfully. "Sir," Commander Bell interrupted, "we're receiving a transmission from the Zephyrian patrol fleet. They're requesting permission to join our operation. Patterson frowned. The Zephyrians were brave, but their ships were designed for exploration and peacekeeping, not military action against a force like the Devourers. Put them through, he ordered. The main screen showed Captain Deckmer. A Zephyrian officer, Patterson, had met at several diplomatic functions. The alien's blue skin was flushed with excitement and concern. Admiral Patterson, Deckmer said, I must protest this action. Our intelligence shows that the Devourer fleet is far too powerful for your small force to engage. You should withdraw and wait for reinforcements. Captain, Patterson replied carefully, we appreciate your concern, but we're going to get our people back. But your ships, Deckmer continued, they appear to be research vessels and commercial haulers. How can you hope to match Devourer warships? Patterson looked around his bridge at the advanced tactical displays and weapons controls that the Zephyrians had never seen before. It was time to end the deception. Captain, I think you'll find that appearances can be deceiving. Our ships are somewhat more capable than they appear. Deckmer's large eyes widened as he studied the human fleet more carefully. Even through the communication link, Patterson could see the alien's confusion as he began to notice details that didn't match the profile of simple civilian vessels. Admiral, Deckmer said slowly, those weapon arrays on your ships, they're not in our technical databases. What exactly are you flying? The same thing we've been flying for 30 years. Patterson answered. You just never bothered to look closely. The realization hit the Zephyrian captain like a physical blow. You've been hiding your true capabilities all this time? We've been careful, Patterson corrected. There's a difference. Commander Bell stepped forward. Sir, we're approaching the optimal position for hyperspace jump. All ships report ready. Patterson nodded and turned back to the communication screen. Captain Deckmer, I suggest you maintain your distance. This is about to get very dangerous. Admiral, wait, the Zephyrian pleaded. If your fleet is destroyed, it will be a disaster for human-alien relations. Let us help you. Patterson considered the offer. The Zephyrians were skilled pilots, and their ships, while not powerful enough to fight Devourers directly, could be useful for search and rescue operations. Very well, he decided. But you follow our lead and stay out of the main battle. We'll handle the Devourers. The human fleet began its jump to hyperspace, with the Zephyrian ships following at a safe distance. As they traveled through the twisted space between stars, Patterson reviewed the battle plan one final time. The fleet would divide into 3 groups. The main battle force, led by the Retribution, would engage the Devourer fleet directly and draw their attention. Captain Clark's stealth group would infiltrate the enemy formation and secure the prisoners. The 3rd group would establish a perimeter to prevent any enemy ships from escaping. Jump complete, announced Navigator Pete Williams. We're at the edge of the Kepler 442b system. The main screen showed the Devourer fleet spread across the system like a swarm of metal locusts. Their ships were dark and angular, designed to inspire fear in their enemies. Several planets showed signs of recent bombardment, their surfaces scarred by weapons fire. There, Commander Bell pointed to a cluster of ships near the main planet. That's where they're holding our people. Patterson studied the enemy formation. The Devourers had positioned their largest ships in the center, with smaller vessels patrolling the outer edges. It was a standard defensive arrangement, but it assumed the enemy would attack from outside the system. All ships, this is Admiral Patterson, he announced over the fleet communication system. Remember, we're not just fighting for Dr. Morgan and her team. We're fighting to show the galaxy that humans protect their own. Make every shot count. The response came back from 12 ship captains, their voices filled with determination and pride. These men and women had trained for years in secret, knowing that someday they would have to prove that Earth was more than just another miner. Species, Zephyrian vessels, this is Admiral Patterson. Take position behind our fleet and prepare for search and rescue operations. You're about to see something new. Captain Theckmer's reply was barely a whisper. Admiral, our sensors are detecting energy signatures from your ships that we don't recognize. What kind of weapons are you carrying? Patterson smiled grimly. The kind that work, Captain. The kind that work. The human fleet moved into attack formation, their true shapes now visible for the first time. The Retribution's massive hull gleamed with the energy of charging weapons. The Vengeance and its sister stealth ships seemed to flicker in and out of existence as their cloaking systems activated. The carrier Hurricane began launching fighter squadrons that moved with inhuman precision and speed. For 50 years, humanity had been content to be seen as the galaxy's students, eager to learn from older and wiser species. Today, the galaxy would learn that the students had become the teachers. The Devourers were about to receive an education in human warfare, and the tuition was going to be paid in blood and fire. The first Devourer patrol ship that detected the human fleet sent a mocking message across open channels. Warlord Krexthul, commanding the massive flagship Bone Crusher, actually laughed when he received the report. 12 ships? He growled. To his bridge crew, the humans send 12 ships against our 49? This'll be over before it begins. The Devourers had conquered hundreds of worlds and destroyed countless fleets. They viewed the approaching human vessels as barely worth their attention. The ships looked strange, but they were clearly outnumbered and outgunned. Shall we offer them a chance to surrender? Asked his second-in-command. No, Krexthul replied. Let them die with whatever honor their weak species possesses. Then we will take their ships and learn their technology. The warlord's confidence was shared throughout the Devourer fleet. Their ships began moving into attack formation, expecting an easy victory that would add human technology to their growing collection of conquered knowledge. They were about to learn that some prey bites back. Admiral Patterson watched the enemy, movement on his tactical display. The Devourers were doing exactly what he had hoped they would do, concentrating their forces for a direct assault, instead of spreading out to protect their prisoners. All ships execute Plan Alpha, he ordered. Weapons free. The human fleet split into 3 groups with practiced precision. The main battle group, led by the Retribution, moved directly toward the center of the Devourer formation. Captain Clark's stealth ships vanished from sensors as they circled around to approach the prisoner ships from behind. The remaining vessels formed a wide perimeter to cut off any escape routes. The first shot of the battle came from the Retribution's main quantum torpedo launcher. The weapon fired a projectile that seemed to bend space around itself as it traveled toward the nearest Devourer ship. The enemy vessel's shields flared as they tried to absorb the impact. The shields failed instantly. The quantum torpedo punched through the Devourer's hull like it was made of paper, tearing the ship apart from the inside. The explosion was so brilliant that it temporarily blinded the sensors of nearby vessels. Impossible, Warlord Krexthul whispered, staring at the empty space where one of his destroyers had been moments before. What kind of weapon was that? He was about to find out. The human fleet opened fire with everything they had. Plasma cannons that burned hotter than the core of a star lanced out at Devourer ships. Kinetic bombardment systems hurled projectiles at such high speeds that they created their own gravitational fields. Energy weapons that the Devourers had never seen before carved through their formations like knives through silk. Sir, Commander, Bell reported from the Retribution's bridge. Enemy return fire is having minimal effect on our shields. Their weapons are powerful, but our defensive systems are designed to handle much higher energy outputs. Patterson nodded grimly. Human shield. Technology had advanced far beyond what any other species possessed. The secret was in the power systems. Humans had learned to generate and focus energy in ways that defied conventional physics. "Target their command ship," he ordered. "Let's see how brave their leader really is." The Retribution's main gun swiveled toward the massive bone crusher. The Devourer flagship was 3 times the size of the human battlecruiser, but size meant nothing when the enemy couldn't penetrate your defenses. Meanwhile, Captain Clark's stealth ships had reached the prisoner. Holding area. The Vengeance materialized next to the captured Aurora's Dream, its cloaking system shutting down as it began cutting through the Devourer ship's hull. "Boarding teams away," Clark reported. "We're going to get our people back." Inside the bone crusher, Dr. Lisa Morgan felt the ship shudder as weapons fire struck its hull. She had been imprisoned in a small cell for days, wondering if anyone would come for her. The sound of battle gave her hope for the first time since her capture. "What's happening?" asked Commander Vex High from the cell next to hers. The Zephyrian officer had been injured during the initial attack, but he was still alive. "I think," Lisa said with a smile, "Earth just arrived." The prison section's lights flickered as more explosions echoed through the ship. Then Lisa heard something that made her heart leap, the sound of human voices in the corridor outside their cells. "Use Marines!" shouted a voice with a distinctly American accent. "Anyone in there?" "Here," Lisa called back. "Dr. Morgan and Commander Vex High." The cell door exploded inward, revealing a figure in advanced combat armor. Major Tony Rodriguez and his squad had fought their way through the Devourer ship to reach the prisoners. "Ma'am, we're here to take you home," Rodriguez said, helping Lisa to her feet. "Are you injured?" "I'm fine," Lisa replied, then looked at Vex High, "but the commander needs medical attention." "We'll get him to the medical bay," Rodriguez promised. "Right now, we need to get you off this ship before it gets blown to pieces." Outside, the battle was turning into a complete disaster for the Devourers. Their ships were being destroyed faster than they could target the human vessels. The advanced human weapons were cutting through their formations like they were made of children's toys. Warlord Krexthal watched in growing horror as his fleet was systematically destroyed. Ships that had conquered entire star systems were being reduced to debris by human weapons he had never seen before. "All ships, retreat," he ordered. "Jump to hyperspace immediately." But the human fleet had anticipated this. The perimeter ships activated gravity field generators that prevented any vessel from entering hyperspace. The Devourers were trapped in normal space with an enemy that was proving to be far more dangerous than anything they had ever faced. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we're detecting massive energy buildup from the human flagship. I think they're preparing to fire on us directly." Krexthal looked at the tactical display, showing the Retribution approaching his ship. The human vessel was smaller than the Bone Crusher, but it was moving with the confidence of a predator closing in for the kill. "Target that ship with everything we have," he ordered. "Destroy it now." The Bone Crusher's weapons fired simultaneously, creating a storm of energy that would have vaporized any normal vessel. The beams struck the Retribution's shields and scattered harmlessly into space. "Their shields are holding," the tactical officer reported in disbelief. "Our weapons aren't even scratching them." Admiral Patterson watched the enemy fire dissipate against his ship's defenses. The Devourers were learning what happened when a species that had been underestimated for 50 years finally decided to show its true strength. "Return fire," he ordered calmly. "And this?" The Retribution's quantum torpedoes struck the Bone Crusher's shields and tore through them like they didn't exist. The massive Devourer flagship began breaking apart under the assault, its hull cracking like an egg. "Boarding parties away," Patterson announced. "I want that warlord alive." Major Rodriguez and his team had successfully evacuated the prisoners and were now fighting their way toward the Bone Crusher's bridge. The Devourers they encountered seemed shocked and demoralized by the sudden reversal of fortune. "How?" one dying Devourer warrior asked as Rodriguez passed him. "How did you defeat us so easily?" Rodriguez paused for a moment. "You made the mistake of thinking humans were weak," he said. "We've been preparing for this fight our whole lives." The battle ended with the complete destruction of the Devourer fleet. Not a single enemy ship escaped to carry word of their defeat back to their home territories. The humans had achieved total victory with minimal losses. Captain Deckmer, watching from his Zephyrian ship, could barely comprehend what he had witnessed. The humans had fought with a skill and technology that surpassed anything in the known galaxy. "Admiral Patterson," he called over the communication system, "your fleet's performance was ... extraordinary. How long have you possessed such capabilities?" Patterson's reply was simple and direct. "Long enough, Captain. Long enough." The rescue was complete, but the real consequences of the battle were just beginning. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity had been hiding its true strength for decades, and that the age of human weakness was officially over. 3 days after the battle, Admiral Jake Patterson stood in the medical bay of the Retribution, watching as Dr. Lisa Morgan recovered from her ordeal. The research scientist looked tired but determined, her eyes bright with the knowledge that her SOS call had changed everything. "How do you feel?" Patterson asked. "Like I've been through a war," Lisa replied with a weak smile. "But I'm alive, thanks to you and your fleet." "I have to admit, Admiral, I had no idea Earth possessed such military power." Patterson nodded. "Very few people did." That was the point. Commander Vex High, his arm in a healing cast, approached from the next bed. The Zephyrian officer had insisted on staying conscious during his treatment so he could observe the human medical technology. Like everything else about the human fleet, it was far more advanced than expected. "Admiral," Vex High said carefully, "I owe you an apology. My people have greatly underestimated your species. We thought we were the teachers, and you were the students." "You were never wrong to be cautious," Patterson replied. "But you were wrong to assume we were helpless." Dr. Ellen Hayes entered the medical bay carrying a datapad filled with information she had extracted from the captured Devourer technology. Her face was grim as she approached the group. "Admiral, we need to talk," she said. "I've been analyzing the enemy's star charts and communication logs. The Devourers weren't just random raiders. They were scouts for something much worse." Patterson felt a chill run down his spine. "What do you mean?" Ellen activated her datapad, showing a holographic display of the galaxy. Red markers indicated worlds that had been attacked by the Devourers, forming a clear pattern moving toward the core systems. "They call themselves the Void Collective," she explained. "According to the intelligence I recovered, they're a species that consumes entire star systems. They use the Devourers to identify and weaken potential threats before they arrive." "How long do we have?" Patterson asked. "The main Void Collective fleet is approximately 6 months away from this sector," Ellen replied. "And Admiral, they're bringing thousands of ships. The Devourer fleet we just destroyed was tiny compared to what's coming." Vex High's skin turned pale blue. "The Alliance Council must be warned immediately. We need to begin evacuating the outer colonies." "Evacuation won't be enough," Patterson said quietly. "If this Void Collective is as powerful as the data suggests, running will only delay the inevitable." A communication alert interrupted their conversation. Commander Bell's voice came through the ship's intercom system. "Admiral, we're receiving priority transmissions from Earth, the Zephyrian Alliance Council, and what appears to be representatives from 12 other species. They're all requesting immediate conferences." Patterson sighed. The secret was out, and now the entire galaxy wanted answers. "Put me through to Earth first," he ordered. The main screen in the medical bay activated. showing President Carroll Williams in the Oval Office. Behind her stood General Morrison and several other officials who looked both proud and concerned. "Admiral," the president said, "congratulations on a successful mission. The entire planet is celebrating the rescue of Dr. Morgan and her team. However, we're receiving some very interesting questions from our galactic neighbors." "I imagine we are," Patterson replied. "What's the situation on Earth?" "The Zephyrian ambassador is requesting an emergency meeting with our military leaders. Apparently, Captain Thekmer sent them a very detailed report about your fleet's capabilities. They want to know why we've been hiding our true strength for 50 years. Patterson looked at Dr. Morgan and Commander Vexhai. "What do you think we should tell them?" "The truth," Lisa said firmly. "The galaxy is facing a threat that's bigger than any one species can handle. This isn't the time for secrets." Vexhai nodded in agreement. "My people have always valued honesty. If humans have been preparing for war while we pursued peace, perhaps it's time we learned from each other." Patterson made his decision. "Madam President, I recommend we call for a Galactic Council meeting. It's time to reveal Project Ironwall to everyone and start preparing for the real war that's coming." Over the next week, representatives from dozens of species gathered at the neutral station orbiting the planet Harmony. It was the largest diplomatic gathering in galactic history, and everyone wanted to understand how the humans had hidden such advanced military technology for so long. Admiral Patterson, now promoted to Supreme Commander of Earth's forces, stood before the assembled delegates. Behind him, holographic displays showed technical specifications of human weapons, ships, and defensive systems that had been classified for decades. "For 50 years, he began, humanity has been portrayed as the junior partner in galactic civilization. We were grateful for your guidance and protection, but we were also learning. Every piece of technology you shared with us, every scientific principle you taught us, we studied and improved upon." Ambassador Kretok of the Altarian Federation raised a tentacle. "Are you saying you've been stealing our technology?" "No," Patterson replied firmly. "We've been adapting it, taking your ideas and pushing them beyond what you thought was possible. While you saw limits, we saw challenges to overcome." Captain Thekmer, now representing the Zephyrian Alliance, stood up. "Commander Patterson speaks the truth. I witnessed their fleet in action. Their weapons and defenses are superior to anything we possess." A murmur ran through the assembly. The Zephyrians were known for their advanced technology, and their admission carried significant weight. Dr. Ellen Hayes stepped forward with her data about the Void Collective. A holographic display showed the approaching threat in all its terrible detail. "This is why secrecy is no longer an option," she explained. "The enemy we're facing will destroy every civilized world in the galaxy if we don't work together." The debate that followed lasted for hours. Some species accused humanity of deception and demanded explanations. Others wanted to know if Earth would share its advanced technology. A few suggested that humans should take the lead in defending the galaxy. Finally, Elder Zar Thul of the ancient Cosmic Union spoke. His species was among the oldest in the galaxy, and his words carried enormous authority. "I remember when my people first achieved interstellar travel," the old alien said. "We thought we were the masters of the universe until we met species that were older and wiser. Perhaps it is time for us to admit that the students have become the teachers." President Williams, attending the meeting via holographic link from Earth, made humanity's position clear. "We're willing to share our technology and lead the defense effort," she announced. "But we want something in return. No more treating humans as junior partners. We've proven ourselves capable of standing as equals among the galactic community." The vote was close, but the proposal passed. Earth would lead a new galactic defense alliance, combining human military technology with the resources and knowledge of allied species. Admiral Patterson was appointed as Supreme Military Commander. with authority over the combined fleets of 12 different species. It was a responsibility that would have been unthinkable just weeks earlier. Construction began immediately on new shipyards throughout Alliance space. Human engineers worked alongside alien scientists to build a fleet capable of facing the Void Collective. The designs combined the best elements of each species' technology, creating vessels more powerful than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Dr. Lisa Morgan was appointed as Earth's first galactic ambassador, her experience with both human and alien cultures making her the perfect choice for the role. Commander Vex High became her deputy, their partnership symbolizing the new cooperation between species. 6 months later, as the first Void Collective scouts appeared at the edge of Alliance space, they found something they had never encountered before. Instead of weak, divided civilizations waiting to be conquered, they faced a united galaxy defended by ships that combined the knowledge of dozens of species with human innovation and determination. The Battle of Proxima Station would be remembered as the moment when the galaxy's defenders made their stand. Admiral Patterson, commanding from the bridge of the new flagship Terra's Might, watched as the combined fleet engaged the enemy. "All ships," he announced, "remember what we're fighting for. Every world behind us, every species that calls this galaxy home. Today, we show the universe that some things are worth fighting for." The SOS call that had started as Dr. Morgan's desperate cry for help had become something much greater. It had forced Earth to reveal its true strength, but more importantly, it had brought the galaxy together in common cause. As the human-led fleet charged into battle against impossible odds, every species in the Alliance understood that the age of isolation was over. They would stand together, or fall separately. And humanity, no longer content to hide in the shadows, would lead them into whatever future awaited among the stars.